This is staghorn sumac. We already did a useful plant video on it. But what I'm going to do today is show you how to make a flute from it. Now you can cut it alive to make the flutes, but then you have to dry it out for a few months. Luckily you can usually find some dead ones in here, and we found a dead one right back here. So I'm going to get in there and get this. It's this one right here. This one's dead. There's another dead one right there. I'll get them both. And one more dead one I see right here. That's all it's left. There we go. Okay. That one's not quite dead, but it is mostly dead and it's mostly dry. So this one we're going to have to let age a little bit before we use it. What I'm going to do now is just cut it into manageable sizes. Flute sizes. Okay, and this is too thin basically to use. So keep it back. Alright, I'm going to do the same thing to these ones over here. And these ones are dead and dry and ready. So we'll make a flute out of one of these. See you in a few minutes. Okay, got my flute blank here. These are the tools that I'm going to use to make the flute. Got my knives. This one is going to be for splitting it. This is a hammer for the back of the knife. My little opening knife for detail work. A hook knife. Now you're saying, where the heck can I get one of these? I've never seen one of these. Well, you can buy a hook knife for a hook knife at any farm supply store that's used for cleaning out horses' hoofs, and you can use that the same as a hook knife. So for less than $5, you can have a hook knife, some string, some tape, and a marker. First step is to split this. So we'll do that. This is Sumac, so it splits really easily. What we're going to do is set that on there. Very carefully. Now once it's started, you can just twist the blade in there, pull it apart. So it's easy to split wood. Look at that yellow color. That's why I love this. It's easy to work. And this here is pith. See, this is soft. So that gives you a good starting place. With Native American flutes, there's a wall inside of it. You have to cut a wall in. That's why we have to split this. You can't just drill through it because there's a wall in here. If you're using bamboo, there's already a natural wall. You don't have to go through all this effort. So if you're using bamboo or river cane to make one of these, just skip all this initial first step and start when we come back. So what I'm going to do here right now is tape this back together. Piece of tape here. And I'll show you why I'm doing this in a second. If I keep this tape off, okay. Put it back together near as perfectly as you can. And I'm going to wrap the tape here, right where I'm going to put the wall. So this is the part I'm going to not carve out. Right here. So I'll leave that on there as an indicator of where the wall is going to be. I'm just going to wrap another piece around here to help hold it while I do this next step. This piece will be temporary, though. I'll pull it off. Okay. to do is shape the mouthpiece of this before I start making the flute. And the reason I tape it together is so it'll be exactly the same on both sides. So, I love this open L, by the way. This knife is awesome. I just got it from a friend, and it's just awesome opening. Lock it. Basically, we're just pointing the end of this. And this is just the beginning phase, so we don't have to get it perfect. We just want to get its relative shape so that we know where to carve on the inside around this mouthpiece. About good enough. A little bit more. Alright, that's good enough. We'll finish that up later. That's the only reason we tape that together right there. This tape off. We'll peel this tape off. We're going to leave the other tape on. We're going to cut it, but we're going to leave it on there. Because that's our indicator. Okay, now what I usually do is I mark it all out. So this real quick. And where our tape is. We're going to mark a line from one side all the way across to the other. And then on the other side of the tape, a line all the way across. Like that, leaving a quarter of an inch on the edge. And then I'm going to draw a line from here, following the curve of the cut end that we just made, down to there, like so. All this in here gets removed. I'm going to do the same thing on this side. Doesn't have to be perfect. I'm doing this mostly so that you can see what I'm doing. Once you know what you're doing, you don't have to mark it. You do have to mark that though every time. You have to mark that wall. Because once this is glued back together, you won't be able to see that. Now everything in here gets carved out with the hook knife until the whole edge is like that. All this will be gone. So I'm going to start doing that on this side now. And I'll show you. With this thing, I use this antler tip. You can use a stick or anything else to pull out this pith. Don't do it in your wall. Remember, nothing leaves that wall. You can pull it out in this section. And that'll give you a good starting point with your knife. To pull out, cut with your knife. Be real careful around the edges, because you don't want to make a mistake. If you do though, there's ways to fix it. I'll cover that a little later. So, this is a slow process. We got to do the exact same thing to this side as we did on that side. My tape is having trouble staying on, so I'm going to mark it with a marker just in case it comes off. And then I'm going to do the same here. Just in case it comes off, and I don't want to lose it. I don't want to lose the spot. Okay. So I'm going to do the same thing on the inside of here as here, and then remove all this. That's going to take a couple hours. So I'm going to work on it, of course, not on camera. Removing all this and all this. If there's any tips I think of along the way, I'll come back in and show you how it's going. But right now I'm going to clean this out. We'll be back in a little bit. Okay, what I'm doing here is I've scraped out the center by the pit. Now I'm going along the sides and cutting into it like this. If you just try to pull down the whole thing, you're liable to mess up. So this is a faster, better way to do it. Go along the sides and make it rough. And then, once you got it roughed out, then you can come back and pull this stuff off. Careful, because you're pulling towards yourself. You don't want anyone to stab themselves in the guts. But we'll keep working on this and we'll be back in a few minutes. Okay, so I've got most of this cleaned out. You have to take special care around the wall. You don't want to compress the pith. You don't want it to be like it is right now. You want that to be as straight down as possible because you're going to be drilling through on the other side and you need it to be thin there. Even thinner there than anywhere else if you can get it. So you really want to get in there good in this spot. But basically we've got this side done. But we'll sand this out. We got to do the exact same thing to this side. I'm going to do now. So once we get this side done, we'll come back and show you what to do from there. Alright, we're back. Here's what I've done so far. I carved these both out. Now we got to glue them together. I'm going to sand them out before I glue them though. The park is getting crowded, lots of kids around, so we're going to have to go somewhere else to do this, just so you can hear us. So we'll be back in a few from my house. Okay, I'm back home. You can see I got a lot of blankets here. What I'm going to do now is sand the insides of this. I want to be careful though. I don't want to sand these edges at all. I want to leave them as natural as they are. Notice a little not really good. Okay, so I'm going to take a little piece of the sandpaper. I'm just going to sand the inside of this. Sorry about the traffic. Either that or screaming kids, which I like the sound of screaming kids better, but I think that the traffic is less loud. It doesn't gotta be perfect, and we're just trying to get rid of all the rough edges. Woo, right in your eyes. No one's going to see the inside of the fluid. The only thing is the rough edges kind of make a rattly sound, so we want to get rid of them. Especially up near this sound hole. I'm going to finish sanding these and we'll come back in a second. Okay, I've sanded the inside of it. Notice I didn't do a real good job. I'm not real picky. Now what I'm going to do is glue these together. First step is to spread the glue, of course, along the edges. Didn't mean to do that. Okay, here we go. Spread a bead along the edge there, along this edge here. I'm going to put a lot of glue here because there can't be any air go through here. So I know that's more than enough, but it'll be inside anyway, you won't be able to see it. There we go. Put this together. just recently got one, so I'll use it in this video. But most flutes I've ever made, I didn't have a clamp and I just taped. It's not going to have a lot of force against it, so it don't have to be super great bond. Now that's where our wall is. That's why I got that piece of tape there. That one will be a reminder, but I'm going to tape the whole thing also. Whoops. Sorry, Bosco. Got some glue in his tail. Let's try this again. You want to really get it tight. The tighter the bond, the better. So that's why I use electrical tape, because it stretches tight. This is some crappy, cheap stuff. And I'm just going to wrap the whole thing. Get it good and tight. Like my women. Okay. Here we go. Now that's got to dry for a while, and I'm going to stick it in this clamp right there. But like I said, this is the first time I've had a clamp to use, so I've made most of these flutes without a clamp. I'm weighting down with books and stuff like that to help. Now the place I care most about it being tight is the sound hole area, and that's this area here, so I'll get close to it. Not too tight, because that will crush. It's just soft. Now that's got to stay there and dry. It's got to dry for a couple hours before you can take the tape off, but it's got to dry for 24 hours before the bond is solid. So I'll leave the clamp on it for a few hours. But I have one here that I made yesterday. So while that's drying, we'll show you what to do with this one. So I got to go get some tools though. We need tools for the holes. So I'm going to go get those and I'll be right back. Okay, so I don't have a drill. If you have a drill, you can drill these holes. It's so much easier. You can burn them with a wire. I drill them with screwdrivers. And I have these other assorted tools. I use this to kind of like sand the inside. It's just a screw. Whoops. And this is an aluminum nail. It's got rough edges, so I kind of use that as a sander on the inside too. 2 different screwdrivers. They're sharpened. I sharpen these with a file so that they drill better. So we're going to do it now. Start it with the tip of my knife. This is the one here. Let's see, where do we want the top? I like this as the top. So, what I'm going to do, notice I still have the tape on me. This is telling me, let me walk this knife. It's telling me where the wall is on the inside. That's all I'm doing with my knife, is just starting it like that. Okay. Now we'll go up to smaller screw. And this is where we're going to start. Come through there. Do the same thing right here. Okay, and through there. Now I have over here. I know this is probably not safe to hold an X-Acto blade in your hand like this. I do it. I don't do a lot of things that are safe, I guess. What I'm doing now is squaring up this hole. All the rest of the holes are round. This one I square up. A lot of people leave them round though, so this is my way It's not the way. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing to this one. Alright, now I can get rid of this tape. Don't need it anymore. And I can get rid of this bark for now. Trying not to cut into the wood at all, because you see this white outer wood. I like the transition from white to yellow, so I try to leave some of the white. So I'm just trying to be very careful to only remove bark. I'm getting towards myself, so I'm being very careful. For the sake of time, we'll come back when I got this done. It'll only take a few minutes, but YouTube only lets me have 15-minute videos. I'll be back in a second. Alright, I've got the bark off. What I'm going to do now is sand. I like to get sandpaper by the roll, because I never have enough of this. Sorry about all the crackle, but I just can't think of any other way around it. I like the flutes to stay ugly. I personally, my preference is ugly flutes. It emphasizes the beauty of the sound so much more when you're playing an ugly old stick. So I don't spend a lot of time beautifying them. I want to hear no cracks about what this looks like. I'll have to cut that out, I'm sure. There's some bug holes in here. None of them go through. But I think it adds character. A lot of people don't like them. I think it adds character. There's some bark here. Alright, that's about good enough for me. Like I said, I like ugly. Now, this is the most important part, the sound hole adjustment. This is the key to the sound. I made this square before. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to make a line from this end of the square down to this end. Not in deep, just a small line. And then same on this side. One into the other. Now this has got to come at an angle. What happens is the air goes through here, up, out this hole, across this chamber, and then blows across this lip, which gives it the sound, like blowing across the top of a pop bottle. We'll have a bird on top of here, which will direct the sound across that. So what we got to do is slant this groove from the low point here to a high point there. And it's really fine detail. You want to be real careful. You don't want to mess this part up. Everything that when you do make a mistake, everything is fixable. But it's better to not make a mistake than you don't have anything to fix. About to go one sap. Hold on a second. Come on out, buddy. Alright, don't jump on me though. Go on. Go on, go on. There's a lot of ways to do this. Some people put the groove in the bird and leave this untouched. I prefer the groove in the flute. And some people flatten this area out and use a flat bird. This is the way I do it. I'm going to show you my way. Can't rush this. Though I want to rush for the video's sake, can't rush this part. Alright. Now one more thing I'm going to do. This front edge here, edge that's away from me, I want the inside of it to be at an angle like this, sharp, sharp, so that it's blowing across a sharp surface. So with the tip of my X-Acto knife, I'm going to get some of this away. I'm going to come in as I cut. Now you don't have to do it, it just makes it more likely to make the better sound. I know a lot of people that make beautiful sounding flutes and they don't do this. Make sure this groove is deep enough. Okay, it's time for sandpaper again. I'm going to use a little piece like this up here, and I'm going to fold it in half. And then I'm going to sand this group with it. The smoother all your surfaces, the less rattle there will be the less raspiness your flute will make. So you can smooth all the surfaces as well. Okay, it's going to be a good flute. You can tell already by the sound. Alright, now we got to make a bird. That's the part that goes over the top of this. So, I'm just going to use another one of these that we have over here. I'll use this one here. Get this all out. I'm just going to cut off a I want this to be the same shape as this. I want it to lay on there against it. So I'm just going to do a real rough shaping on the inside of it with my hook knife, but then I'll do it with sandpaper, and I'll show you how to do that with sandpaper. Notice I'm moving the wood instead of the knife, so I don't pull it into me, so I'm pulling the wood away. Alright, here's how we're going to do it with sandpaper. You take the sandpaper, and set it over top of the hole, just like that. Piece. So scatterbrained. It's gonna work. That's the overblow note, so it has an overblow, so that's good. When it goes back and forth between the note and the overblow note, that's a warble. And that's sought after in the Native American flute. Alright, now we're going to do a lot more work to this bird to make it fit more properly, but it is good enough now for our purposes. What I'm going to do is carve a little groove here. course, this is temporary. I'm not going to leave this big old ugly piece of tape on here. But for the tuning of it, it's good. Okay, now we need to drill holes. I make 5-hole flutes mostly. Sometimes I make 6-hole flutes. I make 6-hole flutes if I have a tuner. I don't have a tuner right now. I know the sound of the scale. I won't know what the original note is, so I won't be able to tell you what key this flute is, but it's going to be a pentatonic minor scale of whatever note it is. It'll probably be in between. Now there's some things. You don't want the first hole to be within 4 or 5 inches of this. Otherwise it'll make no sound. When you take your finger off the hole, there'll be no sound there. It'll just be the sound of air. So you want a good distance between the first hole and this hole. About that much distance. Let me mark it. About that much distance. Okay. Also from the back hole, you want there to be a pretty good distance. So we're not going to have a hole closer than that. I'll use that as my first hole. And here's how I'm going to mark it. I'm going to hold it comfortable and mark where each finger is. Each of the last 3 fingers. This first finger I'm going to skip. Then, with this hand, I'm going to come right about there. Okay. Notice I left a big space here? That's because there's a big jump in note here in this one spot. In the pentatonic minor scale, there's a jump in note. That's going to be approximately where my holes are. Let's see, does that feel comfortable? Works for me. Okay, now we're going to do one note at a time until it sounds right, and then we move on to the next note. It doesn't have to be exactly right, but you want it to be real close. Also, you want it all to be in a straight line. So, lock this blade. Start that there. You want to follow the straight line to the top. There. None of these are going through. I'm just marking. I'm not going through yet. Okay. Where's my little screwdriver? I'll come back when I find it. Alright, just like we did with the mouth hole, I'm going to drill through with the screwdriver. I'm not using a lot of pressure. If you use a lot of pressure, you'll crack it. So, I'm not using a lot of pressure. Okay, let's try that out. It needs to be higher than that. So what we do is, I got this screw here, you kind of use it as a sandpaper. The bigger the hole, the higher the note. So what you do is you make a hole, and then you increase it in size until it's the size you want. but it's close, so I'll move on to the next hole. One thing about playing Native American flutes is don't blow into them hard. That's the problem I see with beginners the most, is that you're basically breathing into it. If you blow into it, you get a higher note. And that works for the last two holes, but it won't work for these holes. I cannot believe how many cars are going by. Okay. Again, I'm doing the same thing. I'm just trying to clean up the insides of it. We'll move on to the next one. Have to do this somewhere else. There's too many cars going by. Hold on. We'll go out back. Okay, we're out back now. It's a little quieter. Now I'm working on the third hole. The first two holes aren't tuned yet. They're tuned close. Not real close, but close enough that I can work with them later. So let me just get them all drilled first. Try that. The wind is blowing. Native American flutes don't work in the wind, by the way. But this is a light wind. Go get that ball! This is a light wind, so it's not too bad. Alright, that's pretty good. Now let's move on down to our fourth hole, which is down a ways. We're skipping a space. A good space. We're skipping a good space. Make sure everything's in line. Yep. Okay, there's the last hole. Where's my go? I lost that screw because of all the interruptions. Go on, Bosco, go. What the fuck? Alright. This video has been trying. Everywhere I go, there's kids, drug dealing neighbors, dogs barking, cars driving by. It's hard to get a peace and quiet. That's why I like living in the wilderness. But I'm in the city visiting family, so I'm stuck with all these horrible noises. Let's see if we can make the sound a little better with some flute. Alright, that sounding good. Go on, Bucko. I don't want to keep telling you. Now all we got to do is adjust these until they sound right. That needs to be bigger. That's why I have two side screwdrivers, so I can make a smaller hole and then a bigger one. Okay. Now we do it just like before. We start at one hole and we go up and tune it at each hole. That's not a fast process, but it has to be done that way. What I'm doing is taking a little piece of sandpaper and I'm rolling it around this. Right there. That's just giving me a shape. That in there. There we go. Like my women. Okay, here we go. I'm just going to sand the inside of the hole. And cut. Okay, I've rolled up a piece of sandpaper. Now I'm using it to sand the inside of this hole, and I'll keep testing it as I go to see what it sounds like. You've got to be careful, you don't want to get the note too high, but I don't think we're in any danger of that right now. Okay, let's try that hole out. Sounds pretty close. Alright, so I'm going to go on up to the next one. Hear how it sounds before. Wait till the breeze dies down. You can't play a Native American flute in the wind. The wind blows across that. Don't hit. Right. Okay, I've got to make that one higher too, but not too much higher. Sandpaper again. This hole is smaller, so I need to roll it tighter. Okay. Let's try that. Oh, needs more. But I'm going to go up to the next hole and work on it first, because it needs more and more. And I'm going to use the big one on it. I can already tell it needs to be a lot higher. And I'm doing this by ear, because I've made these before, and I kind of know what the sound is supposed to sound like. Sounds right. Okay. Now I gotta sand all this loose stuff off. I might get a new piece of sandpaper for that. There we go. Okay, let's see how that sounds. Sounds pretty good. That one needs to be higher though. I wish I had an in-between size between big and small. I have to do it with sandpaper in this thing. Coming along nicely though, I'm happy with it. Despite all the distractions and weird noises. That's why I need flutes, because the loud, chaotic sound of the city and the world, you know, is so destructive to my peace. So when I'm not out in nature, I need something to calm me down or I'm going to kill people. So, flutes give me peace. They put harmony where there's chaos, and I can't stand chaos. That needs to be higher, and it needs to be a lot higher. So I'm going to use the big screwdriver to get it higher. Oh boy, sandpaper on there. Now. That sounds right. And that needs to be higher too, and it needs to be a lot higher, so big screwdriver again. New sandpaper. We just about got it. It's just about done. Except for lots of touch-ups. There's lots of little touch-ups that we'll do. We'll put string on this instead of tape. We'll make this fit a little better, sand it down some more. All these little touch-ups I won't do on camera because we are running out of time. They ain't gonna... I don't want to have 4 video parts, and they only let me do 15-minute sections. until I get partnership. So help me by subscribing. If you subscribe, I'll be able to get partnership. Once I get partnership, I can upload longer videos when necessary. You know, I prefer to keep the videos short, but some of them are necessary. Like, this is going to be a pretty long video because this is a pretty difficult process, so it's necessary. So help me out by subscribing. A little bit off right there. Alright, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to sand this down, sand these holes up, make them look nice. Take this tape off of here, tie it on with some string and some leather or something like that, and I'll come back and show you the finished product. So basically all I'm going to do off camera is just sand this down, make it look nice, get these holes looking nice, and get this wrapped the way it should be with string. The reason you wrap it with string is so it's adjustable, because by adjusting it you can change the sound a little bit. And when I get that done, I'll come back and show you the finished product. Thanks for watching so far. Okay, here it is so far. I'm digging it. I like the sound. It sounds good. One last thing I'm going to do, though, is I'm going to oil it. That'll bring out the grain, make it look really beautiful. More importantly, though, that will help protect it, waterproof it. What I got here is a mixture of eucalyptus oil and olive oil that a friend gave me, and I like it. I've been using it. So take this paper towel. Just really let it soak in. There we go. Okay. I spilled a lot of it, but that's okay. I want to saturate it. Let me take this bird off for now. It's got pretty. It's absorbing right in. Pretty ugly. And I like ugly. Oops. You see a little something. Come here, Bosco. Please go away, Bosco. Just go over there somewhere. Just go over there somewhere. He's such a showboat. Was trying to upstage me. How's that look? Alright, looks good. Now let's see how it sounds. That's the important thing. I got a piece of leather here. Let me just untie it and retie it. Shouldn't have tied it in a knot. Put the bird on. The reason leather is such a good strap for this is because it's flexible, especially if it's brain tanned like this. So you can adjust it while it's still tied. Alright, let's try it out. Let's see. It's Native American flute. I'll adjust this till it sounds right. That's an overblow note there. See, I got all the holes covered but one, and it's the bottom one. That's a whole different octave. That's an overblow note. That's an overblow note too. There it is, Native American flute. I make one. They're fun. They're beautiful. They're fun. Try it. Thanks for watching.